What's up, everyone? Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Evan Campbell, of course, and back, like I said he would be, Kahlief Adam, Spawnies' very own. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? It's good to see you. Inside Gaming fam, good to see you as well. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm returning.
It's always a pleasure. And of course, you know, last time we didn't get too into it. And today, we were going to talk about some Halo news, some of the issues that's been going on with the multiplayer and some of the server issues. But before we do that, man, I want people to know who you are, what you do, and you've actually got something kind of special coming up, right?
Yeah. So again, thank you for having me. Kahlief Adam's here from the Spawn on Me podcast, the premier podcast spotlighting people of color in the video game industry. We've been doing this. We had our 9-year anniversary the other day.
Oh my God.
Which is wild to say out loud. You have been rocking with me for at least 3 of those years, doing cool stuff with me in and out of, in and out of spaces, which has been fantastic. But yeah, we have a really awesome, fantastic event happening on January 31st around 6 p.m. PST over at twitch.tv/SpawnOnMe. I have been dreaming of putting together a Game of the Year award show. It's going to be called the Spawnies. We're pulling together various folks throughout the gaming industry, all folks from, underrepresented groups to come together and celebrate gaming. We're going to be having an hour-long gaming show. And yeah, it's going to be fantastic. No one has ever done anything like this before. Pretty much the entire show from top to bottom is going to be folks who are from underrepresented groups. So folks who are going to be hosting it, Rihanna Manuel, who's going to be my co-host, and so many different folks from the gaming industry as well. So Andy Cortez is going to be there, Blessing Adeoye Jr., we have Kiwi on the sticks. So many dope folks going to be there, and it's going to be a blast. We're very, very excited for this as I get a chance to make a dream come true in a real way.
I know you have these big aspirations. You're coming after Keely right now with your very own awards show. But I do have to ask, I know there's a beef between you and Paris Lilly about actual beef. Yeah. Can we expect anything? Can we expect some heat?
I wanted to do, well, if you go to thespawnies.com, and you scroll all the way to the bottom right of our site. There's a lovely little Easter egg on the site. If you click on that grill, you'll see something that would be very, very cool. So please do that, and then send to Paris a tweet from that particular link, and that adds up into all the goodness. But there won't be any actual Paris beef within the actual show this year. Next year, when he's actually on the show, then we'll roast him live and make it happen.
Of course, I want to get into talking about Halo, but I do want to ask you, what should fans expect? What should people who love video games expect when they come to watch the Spawnies?
Our show is goofy as hell. That's the best way to kind of talk about the tone of the show. It's going to be a very fun, goofy show. Again, we have names of our awards are things like the Jamiroquai for our VR award, or our most emotional game is the Snot Bubble Cry award. So this is not going to be the Oscars of the video game space at all. This is very much a conversation about the culture and how we kind of mesh those things together. But yeah, in terms of picking the games for this award show, again, we're in 2022, 2021. Every game that you can possibly think of is up for grabs in that way. But most of the stuff you'll see during the show is literally stuff that myself and my co-host Rihanna Manuel got a chance to play throughout 2021. So if you're looking for the super sexy indie title that 17 people played, that's probably not going to be in the show. But most of the big bangers that were kind of in the mix for last year are definitely going to be in that conversation. You'll see a little bit of stuff that may have some wrap over, but for the most part, you should know most of the games that we're going to be talking about for the show. So I want to get everyone's expectations in a reasonable space before you come to the show. It's like, why didn't Inscription win everything? It's nominated, but it didn't win anything. It didn't win anything for that particular award.
Right on. All right, let's jump into this Halo news. We've been hearing stories, since Halo Infinite released its multiplayer early, right before the official release of the single player campaign, multiplayer hit, and there was immediately issues with the battle pass and the multiplayer. Mostly, for the most part, the game has been fine, right? Playable. I've been enjoying it a ton. I think you've been playing it, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a blast. 343 is killing it with what I think Halo Infinite has brought to the table for sure.
Sure, but it's upset a lot of people, right? Because the battle pass stuff, the stuff that's encouraging you to kind of come back and keep playing and keep being a part of that community is kind of broken. It's not fun. And they've been fixing it. They've been doing a lot of work. More recently, there was a story, specifically, there's one here on Eurogamer that says Halo Infinite players may not get their lost XP back following server issues. And of course, what this refers to is, if you're familiar with the way like a battle pass works and, you know, basically every multiplayer game now is you get perks and different things to help expedite your leveling process, right? You can get a XP doubler and it lasts for a set amount of time. But when your game has server issues and that set of time is like a real world clock and not an in-game clock, and there's server issues, you're trying to get into a match, you're burning the time that you could be getting that double XP, right? So there's a lot of players who have been using these items, which you can pay for, right? You can actually pay real money for to get them. And then use that to like expedite your leveling process through your battle pass. And now that time, that money is kind of just gone, right? Because you can't claim it while you're doing your challenges or whatever. To compound that, there's actually like a lot of challenges that come through the battle pass, you know, to do your like weekly stuff, to get special drops for like custom armor upgrades and things, aesthetic upgrades. What's compounded is like sometimes you'll get like a challenge for like play this many big team battle matches, right? Or Team Slayer, Tactical Slayer, and those aren't in the playlist of any of the current running playlists.
Right.
So you can't do them. And then on top of your double XPs being wasted, if you get like a big team battle challenge and the server's down, which I've constantly had problems with big team battle. I just can't. It's very rare that I can get into a game. It's a problem, right? It sucks. It's not fun, and I think it's frustrating for a lot of people, rightfully so. But on the other hand, I've kind of been doing okay in the battle pass. Like I'm maybe like 30 levels away from maxing out at 100. I think is the top right now. Yeah. So and I'm having a lot of fun with the game. But honestly, if the battle pass wasn't there, I like it's so double-sided. I don't know if I'd be playing as much.
It's weird. So I've capped out my battle pass for this first part of the season.
There you go.
Because I do
true
nothing.
Gamer here.
True gamer.
I'm a
carpal
fraud.
tunnel engaged. And yeah, it's a problem, right? It's an issue, right? And I think that the best part about all of that is that 343 folks, from what I've seen, they've been pretty nimble about trying to figure out good ways to fix issues that have been within that system. Yes, big team battles is not really working the way that it should. But and I had someone in my Twitter feed today talking about how broken everything is in the gaming space and how broken Halo Infinite is, and I was like, look, I come from a generation, and this is gonna be when I get to sit on my old man hat.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't sit on your hat.
Let me get my cane.
I get to put on my old man hat and my cane, and say, look, from a perspective of seeing how many games are actually broken, in comparison to what we see here as, yes, actual issues that are happening. There's server-side stuff, there's things within the game. But even with that said, there has not really been a barrier to fun in this game at all. You can still play Slayer, you can still play, you know, Oddball and everything else. They have the maps that are still there, all the playlists that are doing what they need to be doing. I think of this as like a very small inconvenience to people who are like really the hardest of the hardcore. Yes, I think that they'll have to figure out some way to get your money back, or at least, you know, give you the time back into your account in a way that feels smart and good and reasonable. But in terms of like this larger narrative that like, oh my God, Halo Infinite is the most broken thing on the planet, it's not even close to stuff that I played way back in the day, or even in, you know, most recent times that were actually like really terribly broken. So, you know, I hope people are going to, you know, be able to give them some patience. A lot of this stuff is coming up right at the beginning of the new year. You know, studios take at least a couple weeks off during the holiday vacation.
You know, they were working over the holidays to get the original. And
they were definitely working.
Yeah,
they were absolutely working during that time. So I think, you know, everybody should just take a chill pill, calm down, and it should be fine at some point. But you know, even if it's not right now, again, all that stuff is cosmetic. They have to figure out a way to to give you some of that time or money back, and I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think it just sucks when stuff like that does hit the subreddit, like this story did. Essentially, somebody went to support saying like, hey, I used my double XP, and then you had a server outage, and now I couldn't use it, so like I wasted that time and money, essentially, right? Like I haven't paid for those double XPs outside like my first like battle pass, the entry for the battle pass that I paid for. So it's time, right? Like you have to play a lot to get those double XP little tokens. I forget what they're called, upgrades, whatever.
Yeah, you're right. The boosts.
Yeah. So yeah, it is kind of suck because like sometimes getting through there, because the battle pass is so broken with like weird challenges and stuff, you have to like swap through, you have to wait till you get swap consumables to swap the challenge out for one that like you can actually do.
Sure.
And it's so frustrating. So I get it. I super duper get it, and it sucks, and I hope that they can do the right thing. But essentially, yeah, the official response was wasn't great. Like, here's the official response they got from the support. It says, while we do not have the ability to give or replace the XP boost you've lost during the server outage, we want to inform you that access to Halo Infinite servers is now restored. So,
and I think people have to understand too that like people who are doing that level of support aren't devs. They're not working on the dev team.
Yeah.
There are, you know, those aren't folks who are like in the mix of making an actual fix or a patch. So, you know, those folks often are, you know, QA folks who potentially are, or maybe not even, like some of those are even farmed out to other kinds of companies that just do, you know, support kind of stuff. So yes, that particular conversation wasn't great. But again, I think like until we see an actual, you know, messaging from 343 on it, then I think everyone kind of has to just chill and wait. And also play other stuff. There's other stuff to play until that stuff gets fixed, and then when it comes back, you'll be able to go back and potentially get all that stuff back.
Yeah, I think I was doing one of the weekly events, and I was like, I'm doing this to myself. Like, I could just stop.
Right?
Like, I was like, I just played this way too much because I was trying to finish out the weekly, and I was like, I don't even want this visor. Like, I just need to stop right now.
I think that's the bigger issue is like, are the offerings that are in the battle pass right now, and that's been a conversation that we've seen that has been actually really, really important. Are the offerings good? And a lot of them, outside of the actual like special events that they've been doing with the kind of like samurai armor and stuff like that, most of that stuff hasn't really been great yet. So I think that's my bigger gripe is that stuff of like, if you're going to put out a battle pass like this, you have to make the things in the battle pass really, really sexy so that you do want to grind for those things.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff hasn't been that so far.
And they delayed season 2, right? Like, we know that they delayed season 2. That happened. And because of that, now they've had to stretch, just because of all the numbers, right? All the number crunching to see like what makes a fun battle pass experience day to day, right? Yeah. You weren't getting experience for completing matches before. You know, they fixed that. They changed the balance on that, so it's like it's a ladder now. So you get like 300, 200, and then 100 after, you know, a set number of matches for each of those. So like that stuff is getting better, but it is kind of slow. That season 2 got pushed out, right? So now season 1 is twice as long as it was supposed to be. It's just like it's like a big mess, but. So far, every time they announce like, it got updated, you know, big team battle's working now, and I jump in, I'm like, oh, it's still not working. But I don't, yeah, it's not great, but like, I don't know, maybe I have an illness because I just like Halo so much. So I don't know, I think a lot of people who play games are conflicted with this. Like, this is a thing I love, but it's kind of messed up right now, but I can't stop playing because I love this thing so much.
I mean, look, if you want to talk about people who are like feeding for punishment, I'm still playing Battlefield 2042.
Oh my god.
So you know, if you want to talk about the people who are hurting themselves on a consistent basis, I am that person.
Oh man, well, I think we kind of talked that one to death. There's nothing else left there really. It sucks for now. I really hope it gets better. If it doesn't, we'll continue to report on it. And you know, come on, 343, please. We're counting on you. But I also know like you guys are probably super stressed about all this stuff.
And this is their first battle pass, so like I'm cutting them some slack.
They're old. They're old too.
Yeah, right. This is like they're learning. They're learning the process.
Right on, man. Well, before you go, I just want to give you another chance to talk about your award show, Spawnies, coming out January 31st.
Yeah, please come watch it. We'll be on the front page of Twitch, 6 p.m. PST, twitch.tv/SpawnOnMe. Again, we're doing something that no one has done before. We're going to break some new ground, make some history. And it's and I was watching the edit, looking at the edit today, and it's such a fun show. It's going to be really, really cool. Especially for our first outing at this. V2 is going to be nuts. V1 is very, very fun. So we'll hopefully we'll see you there.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, man, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace, y'all.